This video is a continuation of our lesson on plants. As you watch the video, please make sure to fill in your scaffolded notes and take any additional notes as necessary. If you want to make little sketches or little blurbs off to the side, go right ahead. If you need to pause the video at any point, that's fine as well. There will be a few parts during the video where I give you some sort of fun fact, like did you know, blah blah blah. Make sure to write down these fun facts because I'll use them as a way to make sure that you actually watched the video and did your homework in class tomorrow. So today in class we discussed plants. First we went over the characteristic of all plants. We said that all plants are autotrophs that conduct photosynthesis to get their energy. We said that plants are multicellular and they have to have ways to conserve and transport water and nutrients. For added support, plant cells have cell walls, and their reproduction can either be sexual or asexual. We went over the few classifications of plants. We talked about non-vascular plants, like mosses, that are low-lying and live in moist environments. These plants don't use seeds, instead they use spores. We also talked about vascular seedless plants that use tubes to transport water and nutrients, but also don't have seeds. These plants reproduce with spores, and although they can grow taller than those non-vascular plants, they still live in moist environments. An example of a vascular seedless plant might be a fern. Now we're going to move on with plants with seeds. These are the majority of the plants that we see around us. One major characteristic of all plants with seeds is that they have vascular tissue. Vascular tissue is part of a larger vascular system, or a system of tubes that basically transports water and nutrients. The two main types of vascular tissue, or tubes, are phloem and xylem. Phloem is responsible for transporting food from the leaves to the rest of the plant. So you can think phloem food. Now, we may know or may recall that photosynthesis occurs in the leaves, and so that's where the food is produced. So the food gets sent by the phloem from the leaves to the rest of the plant. Xylem, on the other hand, transports water down from the roots where it's collected up to the rest of the plant. Vascular tissue is important not only for the structure of plants, but especially for the transportation of nutrients. Plants with vascular tissue are able to live in different environments and are also able to grow taller because they have a well-developed transportation and conservation system. Now, plants with seeds reproduce using seeds. A seed contains the young plant in a protective covering. But before a seed can form, pollen has to meet the egg cells. So pollen are tiny little structures that become sperm cells. When pollen joins with an egg cell and fertilizes it, we get a baby plant inside of a seed. So seeds come in all shapes and sizes. We have coconuts, we have beans, we have sunflower seeds. All seeds share a similar structure. So the three main parts of a seed are the embryo, the cotyledons, and the seed coat. The embryo is what A is pointing to, and that's the baby plant. When we refer to the cotyledons, B, we're referring to a little leafy part that basically provides food for the baby plant. The seed coat, C, is a protective covering that provides structure and support and protection for the baby plant. Occasionally, we find seeds inside of a fruit. Now, in order for seeds to become grown-up plants, they need to be dispersed. So we talked about when we were discussing fungi, we said that the spores, although they produce millions of spores, only a few land in the right places. Similarly, plants produce many seeds, and only a few live in the right places to grow. Seeds are dispersed or spread around by the 3 W's mainly: wings, water, and wind. So wings, maybe a bird eats some sort of seed and poops it out somewhere else, or simply carries it off. Water, seeds can float to a new environment. Or wind, maybe seeds that are small enough might drift with the wind to a new favorable environment where they can grow. Now, if the seed lands in a favorable environment, germination might occur. Germination occurs when the embryo begins to grow and push out of the seed. So maybe you remember in kindergarten or first grade when you grew your little seeds and you started to see the baby plant pop out of the seed. This is called germination. All right, here's your first fun fact. Make sure to write it down. Did you know that more than 70,000 different types of plant species are used for medicinal purposes? Maybe you've used aloe for a sunburn. Okay, now let's go over the main parts of a plant. Most plants consist of roots, stems, and leaves. Basic, I know. The roots serve an important role for the plant. They help anchor the plant to the ground, so the plant can withstand wind, water, things like that. So roots act as an anchor. The roots also help absorb water and minerals from the soil. If you recall, sometimes they have little helpers, like fungi. So occasionally fungi will grow around the roots of the plant and help them absorb those water and minerals. Sometimes the roots will be used to store extra food as well. There's 2 types of roots: fibrous roots and tap roots. Fibrous roots are what we usually think of when we think of a plant's root. They're dense, tangled messes. So when you're weeding the garden, you see a lot of fibrous roots that kind of spread out. They're very dense, they're very tangled up. Whereas tap roots are one long, main thick root, like a carrot. Moving up to the stem. The stem essentially just carries stuff up and down and provides support for the plant. When I say carries stuff up and down, what do I mean by that? Hopefully you got that the stem carries water and nutrients up and down the plant. Again, we have 2 main types of stems. We have herbaceous stems. Those are like the stems that you see on flowers, right? There's no wood, they're soft. They still provide a little bit of support, but no wood. And then we have woody stems. So you think about a tree trunk, you think about bamboo. These are hard, strong stems. Moving further up, we get to the leaves. And the leaves are particularly important because they are responsible for carrying out photosynthesis. Inside of plant cells, you find chloroplasts. So chloroplasts are a little organelle, mostly found in the plant cells in the leaves. And what they do is they convert light energy to food energy. Now, photosynthesis requires a few things. Plants take in carbon dioxide from the environment. At the same time, they get water from their roots. When you add energy from the sun, a chemical reaction occurs. The results of this chemical reaction are sugar, or food for the plant, and oxygen as a waste product. So plants benefit by getting sugar, and we benefit by getting the oxygen. There's a few other important roles of the leaf. The leaves usually have a waxy cuticle. Do you recall what a waxy cuticle does? Hopefully you remember that the waxy cuticle helps prevent water loss. If you can imagine rubbing your fingers across a leaf, you get kind of a waxy feeling. That wax helps keep the water inside of the leaf. Chloroplasts, we said, carry out photosynthesis and help the plant get its energy. The veins, or the tubes, xylem and phloem, help transport water and nutrients, like we said. Make sure you know which one transports which. The stomata on a leaf are little openings on the underside of a leaf that allow it to breathe, to take in carbon dioxide and to release oxygen. Now, what I'd like you to do is answer these questions in your notebook as a review. I will be checking these questions, so make sure that you write down the question and your answer. It doesn't have to be in a complete sentence, but be prepared to talk about it. We've come to the end of our lesson. Hopefully it wasn't too long. We'll go over any questions that you have in class tomorrow, but please make sure to copy down all the notes and write down any questions that you have.